everybody, Frugal Brando here, and I hope you all are being smart with your money. So what a better way to end 2020 than a meme-filled video talking about stimulus checks. Back in early April, the CARES Act was the $2 trillion spending bill by Congress, who loves spending money. That basically saved the large corporations for travel industries such as the airlines and cruise companies. It also provided those small business loans and grants, and to the individual households, it provided rental assistance, eviction protection, and those things called stimulus checks. For all of the college students and graduates who still have federally held student loans, it also deferred all of those payments and placed them at a 0% interest rate, so you wouldn't earn any more interest on those as well. All of that aid was definitely helpful in the short term, however, that was back in April, and we are now in December. The good news is that it does seem like another round of stimulus checks and a new bill to extend those things like rental assistance, eviction protection is on the way. However, it's probably going to be half of the stimulus check amount at $600. It is enough to do a few things like buy a next generation game console if you can actually find one from a retailer whose site doesn't crash when you try to order it. Or it could be enough to start a revolution. So you can do a lot of things with $600, but $600 is basically a slap in the face to most Americans who got the $1,200 stimulus checks last time, and it's really easy to find that basically from Twitter and the memes that came from it. Some of us might remember a time before the pandemic where we thought everything was great and perfect. However, if you look into the finances of American families, 41% of Americans would not be able to cover a $1,000 emergency. And the interesting thing with these is the fact that if you had a higher income, you would be able to pay it with your savings. And 6 in 10 of those households earning $75,000 or more annually would be able to do this. What's the cutoff for these stimulus checks? $75,000. It is just an interesting correlation that shows, for some reason, this threshold of income determines whether or not you might be more likely to be able to pay something, an emergency, with a savings, or if you have to put it on a credit card or sell something to come up with the money. So if that was the state of American financials prior to the pandemic, what did everyone spend their $1,200 stimulus checks on? Well, according to the New York Federal Reserve, 29% of the recipients spent it on consumption, with 18% being necessary living expenses. This would probably be rent, bills, things like that. 8% then said they spent it on hobbies, leisure, vacation, and 3% donated it to charity, which does show that there is some good in the world. That was the 29% for consumption, and 36% said they saved it. I am also including that this meant they invested it, as so much money did get flooded into the market back in March, and 35% also paid off debt. This could have been credit cards, maybe they put it to their mortgage, and with 71% of these recipients for the $1,200 stimulus check either saving it, investing it, or paying off debt, what were they thinking with the next round of stimulus checks? Well, 24% said they would use it for consumption again. However, 45% said they would save it, and 31% would use it for debt repayment. Well, with a new strain of COVID in the UK, cyber attacks on the US government, and potential for an entire economic collapse along with a stock market collapse and real estate crash in 2021, maybe you want to be in that 45% if you can save it. Only if you can save it. Obviously, if you have to use this money for bills and necessities and things, who am I to tell you what to do there? Obviously, that is what you should be doing. But if you are in the ability and you are just going to buy something with this anyway, might be good to fall into this category to save it or to pay off debt. Just use it wisely is really the best sense. Maybe you just had a kid and you want to start a 529 college plan, or maybe you throw this into your savings, or maybe you invest it, or do whatever. Just be sure to remember that the government does not give out free money. The math on how they calculated $600 still doesn't make any sense. And inflation is always that horrible word that catches up with your money, so things are going to cost more in the future. So if you can save this or invest this, it's probably going to be wise to do going into 2021. You may not be able to buy the home of your dreams with a $600 stimulus check or $2,000 stimulus check, But hopefully whatever you do with it when this wave of stimulus checks and potentially future wave of stimulus relief bills comes out, hopefully you use it wisely. So that's going to be the end of this video. Please hit me one of these buttons. I prefer this one, but I would understand if you hit this one. It's all that end of the YouTuber please subscribe stuff and all of that fun enjoyment that everyone loves to see at the end of these videos. But until the next video, be smart with your money.